Hi Nala, it was so interesting to hear your thoughts about the Beliebers and also the Supernatural fandom. As I mentioned in my video this week, I'm a huge Supernatural fan, and I was really interested as a fellow aspiring um, communications professional, although less journalism, but like also very interested in media and PR. It was very interesting to me to learn about Publicity from the Supernatural fandom, how they were always tweeting every week, trying to get things trending, trying to get Happy Birthday Jensen Ackles trending, or trying to talk about shows every week. And although that was definitely used a little bit for evil when fans did not universally love the finale and started harassing actors off of Twitter, I do think that there's a testament to an interest in the fans talking to each other, going online, realizing that their collective interactivity has power and value in the media world, and making sure that if they are seen and heard, their shows will stay on, which is why the show went for 15 years, and it only ended when the actors finally said, you know what, I don't think we're ever going to get canceled. And Mark Pedowitz, the leader of the CW, said, you know what, we're never canceling. So the actors actually had to say, you know what, we're interested in other things. And now you see Jensen Ackles on The Boys and Jared Padalecki producing Walker. And just this general interest in the cast to move on to new avenues while continuing the creation, entertainment, and other conventions to maintain that access. And the fans are still engaged, even to express their displeasure, but they're still interested in not going anywhere. But it is interesting to see how it has evolved without that weekly participation, as you mentioned. So regarding your thoughts on the Beliebers, because I know that's your true fandom, and it was very interesting to hear. That's a really example of a fandom that I do not know a lot about. When I was a kid, I just really wanted to be cool so bad. So whenever I saw people like getting harassed for liking a band or something, I would like willfully not listen to it because I'd be afraid if I liked it too much, which is a horrible confession to essentially being a 13-year-old hipster. But one thing I did have is a lot of friends who were very passionate about that era of music and their friendships and making their t-shirts and waiting up all night outside of our local Target to get an album like this, or Walmart, I guess at the time, when for like the second it was released, and wanting to go to the concerts and just being so moved by the experience and being passionate. And I think that the Beliebers, it was so interesting to hear what you said about how they empower themselves outside of fandom, outside of just liking music, but also specifically looking at how we're talking about Twilight fangirls in the text this week, how sometimes fandom can be feminized and therefore demonized. And I don't think that there's a better example and fans that are put through so much unnecessary hardship for being passionate about something than with musicians, or with even like the Directioners received the same thing, One Direction fans. And I think that it's really powerful that people have chosen to find meaning and to support each other and to not care what people think and to be empowered by their love of that thing. It is no different than people being super passionate about the Beatles or being super passionate about football. So I love that people are still continuing to find power where they find empowerment and joy, where they find joy. It's like a radical act. And what has impressed me so much over the years is I've seen fans come and go. Like I noticed the boy band thing with like NSYNC and like Backstreet Boys when I was a kid, and then move on to like Jesse McCartney, and then moved on to the Jonas Brothers, and then Justin Bieber. And he really, really swept through like a tidal wave into that age group's interest. And then to see, people grow up with it, be much older fans, continue to support each other, to learn more about it, and to continue to be loyal and passionate. It's very interesting. And I think that we as a culture do not spend enough time wondering why he has that impact for people outside of the fandom, and respecting it and seeing like what value people are getting from it, because clearly it's very profound for them, and he's had a long career and a lot of opportunities to continue creating as a result. So it's very interesting. So thank you so much for sharing about that and bringing that up. It's fascinating to hear about your work in radio and how you're staying in tune and what you're learning professionally from observing fandoms. Really great to hear all about that, and I'd love to hear more about that particular journey and how you're interpreting pop culture through that lens, because it's such a unique view that I'm sure all of us could professionally learn from in the program. So thanks so much for sharing, and have a great week.